I got some good ass fame farming methods for you today. It's honestly gonna be a bit insane because I'm gonna try to get through this as fast as possible. First of all, why would you even need that much fame? Basically, how Albion leveling works is that you level out one class to 100 and it will give you an extra, I think, 100 or 200 item power, but then you have to jump on to the specs. So this is more specific to the item. This is the exact item you're using, not the whole class. For example, you're using a carving sword, it's not gonna level the Kingmaker for you meanwhile. This all comes together when you're using that kind of class item, because every single item you've got to 100, it will give you another 20 item power in the things in the same class. So for example, you got all the swords on 100, you're gonna use a Kingmaker and you're gonna get like 140 extra item power because you leveled everything else up. Now enough of this yapping, let's jump into how to actually fame farm. So what I do is I go to the top right and press on the rankings button, then I go to PvE fame, under guilds, the second tab, and I go to this week, or last week of course, it's basically the same thing. What this gives you is the top guilds with PvE fame last week or this week. So for example, the first one is Panda Squad, and I already read that they do world boss farming. Where do they do it? In the Black Zone. Black Zone is the best fame farming spot because you get the extra Black Zone bonus. So for example, right here is where this guild farms, the top one guild. They're leading with 6 billion fame this week right now, so I mean that's a big margin, but they basically have a full guild always, and they just grind world bosses. They also sometimes just do small scale or CVC, I think. They mainly just farm, and if you join them, you do have to be an end game player for the world boss clears, so I don't recommend going there as a starter. You also have the PvE rankings per person, so you can see who sold their soul. The top people are usually world boss fame farmers, but they can also be static fame farmers, and I mean it just depends on the week to be honest and who grinds. Here you can find some new Albion friends, because by the looks of it you can see that they basically have no friends and they just dedicate their whole life to Albion. Now that was an interesting guild name, but let's go past it. Farming world bosses, you're gonna have a specific set, and with that you're gonna earn combat fame credits, or I think that's what they're called, and you can manually level up your things. So for example, if you use one set and it's already at 100, that fame is going to be converted into fame, combat fame credit. You will be able to use that to level up other gear, so you need a specific set to actually kill the world boss mobs, otherwise you're gonna get the whole party killed. Now since this isn't for starters, so I mean the world boss is for end game players, I recommend for starters to join a static fame farming guild. So for example, take the PvE fame list and just go down it and search for guilds that do fame farms in statics, not world bosses. And you should be fine with that, to be honest, because a lot of guilds just fame farm, and you can just join on fame farms and you can see how active they are, and you can basically look at the member count, look at the fame earned, look at their activity and such, and you can finally figure out if you want to join the guild and fame farm in statics with them. Because a lot of guilds actually have hideouts right next to the static dungeons, so it's basically go out of home, do the mobs, go into home, and it just repeats itself over and over again. For example, Quackers right now is sitting next to a tier 8 static, and it's really good for fame because you just decide you want to go in, jump out, go in, come out and go in. So it basically doesn't take much time to do it, and if you already have experienced people, it's even better. I quickly want to mention that there are easier world bosses and easier static dungeons, so it depends on the mobs, because some statics might have mobs that are only close range mostly, so you can stack them up really well, and some might only have witches that range cast you, and you can't really do anything about them. You can't clump them, you can't get them together, you can't AoE damage them, so honestly, good luck with that. So there is another method actually for mostly PvP players, or you can also do PvE for even more fame. You can go and do faction conquest. So how this works is there are bandit events and there are normal PvE caps. So what you need to do is actually go and capture outposts, capture maps, and you will get tokens for it. With tokens you buy the chests, you open the chest, you get a lot of fame or fame books, and you get a lot of silver. So that is a really good method. In my opinion, that's one of the best because I didn't like to do PvE earlier, I just did PvP. That's how on the West server I leveled up most of my gear, and I think I was just missing a few pieces from having every single weapon line maxed out. Now, a method I did use in my last video, and this is gonna be for solo players or small group players, and this is the best way to do this solo. You can just go into the open world with a cheap set, so for this example I'm in like 4.0 or 4.1, and you just kill mobs. Because as you can see, open world mobs actually drop a lot of fame, so 8,000 per mob, and you also get a lot of silver drops, 8,000 per mob again, and the night will give me 8,000 more, so that's 24,000 fame in like I guess 10 seconds. Do be careful though, because there are a lot of gankers around, so you might get jumped multiple times. That's why I'm on a cheap gear set, so I won't miss the 4.1 I'm gonna die in. I'm gonna make it back in like what, 10 or 20 mobs, and I won't have a problem. To avoid ganker groups, we can just jump into the mists, but in the mists we have to look out for single mobility gankers or like high tier people, because they're gonna one-shot us. Now in the mist you are in more of a safe side of the game, because you can only get targeted by single people, or if people decide to gang up on you, which is not great, but it might happen. And in the mist you can get a lot of fame by doing the camps and by picking up the floating lanterns, because in the most normal one, in the common one, they give you 7,000 per lantern, so that's basically an open world mob itself. I'd have to recommend you go into the mists as a solo player though. The greater mists are not really that good, but you know, it is what it is. And honestly, I'd have to say YouTuber luck, that's how you get these drops, and you don't really have another option. Thanks for spawning it in, Coco. There's also another secret in Albion. You can actually sell your soul for extra fame. You just have to go solo or with a group into the Avalonian Roads from the portals, and you can basically just run around for hours finding nothing and just praying that you find something on your next turn. I wouldn't recommend Avalonian Roads because they're highly competitive and there are a lot of fight squads out there or gang squads, so you will probably at one point get yourself killed. Here you can see me and Rifonsic manhandling a group of like 6 members or 7 members of a PvE fame farm group, and the reason why I say me and Rifonsic only is because the 2 guys with us are totally new players, so they basically have no spec, no experience, and they were just tagging along for the fun of it. Only reason to do Avalonian Roads is to meet Coco, Mogdon, or maybe even Equart. Basically, just to meet up with your favorite streamer or content creator and kill them. I meant in game. Hey baby girl, you weren't expecting me here, yeah? Thanks for watching the video. If you want to stay updated with my content, don't forget to subscribe and maybe even leave a comment to boost the algorithm. I mean, otherwise, thanks for watching. Don't forget to join my Discord in the description down below. Ask me any questions about Albion, about life, about anything. And you also have my Twitch down there, and I also sometimes stream. I'll see you next video.
He spreads my cheeks and he makes me scream. He's my #1 daddy, gonna make him cream inside of me. Just keep riding me. When I'm slapping him down, it's my favorite sound. He let out a little moan, what a beautiful tone, so softly. Just keep riding me. So let's go talk about it. You look so sexy when you're